Greetings and welcome back to the Contrarians. For this panel, we're doing another Patreon suggested topic. We're going to be talking about, very much not looking at, our 5 favorite music videos in any genre. Now, this is a little bit off the beaten track for us. It's still about music, but it's more about the visuals. I have done a little cursory research on the history of music videos. I'm going to be distributing these pearls of wisdom that I've gleaned as we go. So I just wanted to start off with the trivia that music videos, in a sense, extend as far back as motion pictures themselves. Some scholars believe the first music video was in 1894. It was a film called The Little Lost Child, and it was a short film meant to be run behind an orchestra playing the music for The Little Lost Child. This was a way that they sold sheet music, because before radios became widely available, sheet music is how people made money on music. So they would go to your town, exhibit this film, people would go, oh, that's a great song, I'll go buy it, and then take it home, and they would have somebody who could play it on the piano. And think about that, an entire society that had pianos at home and people that were good enough to actually play popular music. You don't get that these days. All right, that's fact number 1. I'll be dribbling them out more as we go here. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, tell us about your 5 favorite music videos.
Okay, this is going to be a little shotgun. It's going to get weird. First one I'm going to go with is the oldest one. Pop music, which is really probably the only super classic one on here, maybe. Depends on how you look at it. But as far as the the really early MTV stuff, not quite 1890, but still pretty early. And what I like about it is that it's kind of a critique of the whole disposable pop thing. There's a joke in the video of the person that actually did the background vocals is standing there looking really bored, and they make it look like these 2 models are doing the vocals, but they're not. It was actually this woman in this blue dress, and it's just quirky and weird, and a video doesn't count if I don't like the song, and I really like the song. I mean, metal forever and all that, but hey, shit, this was pretty cool and catchy song, I thought. So that's the first one. I'm going to skip around a bit. Outcast also kind of played with the form. In Hey Ya, they did, they made it look like one guy was an entire band on something like the Ed Sullivan Show type of thing. And I don't know, it's catchy tune. All of the guys, all the different performers that he portrayed acted different. It was kind of clever. It doesn't really take much more than that. So I would put that in there. Now, Sisters of Mercy, Dominion, Mother Russia. This is cool. It would be cooler if later we didn't find out that we're not really sure if Patricia Morrison did anything in the band or not. Eldridge claims she didn't. Morrison claims she did. Eldridge is a known dick. I don't know much about Patricia Morrison. So I'm inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt. But she looks amazing in it. He looks really cool in it. They're, riding horses all through the desert. It's just it works with the grandeur of the song. So I think it's really effective that way. Gothic music is dramatic. This video is dramatic. And that moves me right into another desert video, Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss, which is the only one I'm worried that anyone else might have taken. But I got to go first. Camels this time, I think, but they really did a great job with Seasons in the Abyss, showing, not only making it as dramatic as the song is, because the song is tremendous, but just the way they shot it, when the guitar was doing something interesting, they'd show you that. When it was arpeggiating and that sort of thing. And did it make any sense? I don't know. Did it actually explain anything in the song? Not really. No, not particularly, because song's kind of about something else. But it was. It's pretty majestic to watch, and so to me, it's actually almost like a doppelganger, as Martin would put it, I guess, to the Sisters video. And the last one, and I've got a crap ton of honorables that we could get to or not, whichever. The last one, I'm going to go with something much more straightforward. This is just a band having fun. And you can tell they're having a good time doing it. It's very infectious, and you can't help but enjoy watching it. And that's Van Halen doing Panama. I mean, they're flying through the air across the stage. They're doing the usual Eddie kind of smirk thing that really, to me, is kind of one of the hooks of the videos. Is Eddie looks like he's completely surprised that, oh my God, look what came out of here, or hey, here's something coming, and he'd do those little looks, and I don't know. So many bands took themselves so seriously, and sometimes that was cool, but I liked that Van Halen was just really, I got into Van Halen more after watching the videos because the sense of fun came through, and I didn't hear it on the record as much. I always liked Panama, but watching the videos actually made me go back and listen to more Van Halen. And if that's not a successful video, I don't know what is. So that's my 5.
Okay, very good. And we may get to honorable mentions at the end. It depends on how chatty the panel is feeling this evening. Thank you very much, Jeff. Great start. All right, your next piece of trivia. Until I think it was last year, I saw a documentary on something that I had never heard of before, and it blows my mind. It's called a soundie. Have you guys heard of a soundie? A soundie was a 3-minute music video made from 1940 to 1946, and they had kiosks, more than 1,000 kiosks all over the country. David, you still with us? Okay, I'm glad that was just the camera and not you. So these coin-operated kiosks called panorams were placed in public gathering places like train stations and bus stations, and you would go and put a coin in it and watch a literal music video. It would play the popular song, and then you would watch a film of people miming along to a performance. And in some cases, they are the only reason that we have images of these popular performers, especially the African-American performers from the 1940s. Soundies, really fascinating thing. I had no idea they even existed, but they were massive until 1946, and we won't get into all the reasons that they failed. All right, I'm going to go down to Jake, not from State Farm, who I think is our first candidate for losing light if we don't get to you quickly. So, Jake, let's do your picks next.
Okay. Can you hear me and see me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Well, I'm quite a bit younger, I think, than most of you guys here.
Define
I
young.
just went with define young. Okay. Like age or mentality?
I'm just kidding. I was just being silly. Whatever.
Because the age, I'm probably maybe older than some of you. Or not age, mentality, maybe. Anyway, I went with the first 5 that came to my mind, and the first one is from a album that came out in 2001, and I'm going to probably get a lot of strange looks for this, but it's Nickelback's Too Bad, and it tells a story of the lyrical content of a strained relationship between a kid and one of his parents, and the parent is absentee and not there, and the music video tells how this kid goes on this self-destructive rampage of behaviors while Nickelback plays in this rattled down barn with water leaking in and whatnot. And that was the first time in my life I would see a Spectre bass played by Mike Kruger, the bass player in that band. And that I love Spectre basses. I absolutely love them. And that music video was really, really profound on my life. Love that music video. My next one is Megadeth's Sweating Bullet, where Dave's in that prison cell talking to himself, very manic-like, and there's like 1,500 Dave Mustaines in that cell, but outside the cell, there's another cell with more Dave Mustaines talking to themselves, and it's very clever and manic the way it's set up. The next one is Warrant's Uncle Tom's Cabin. That one is also a mini movie, and it tells the story contents of the lyrics in there. Janie Lane was such an underrated lyricist, and Uncle Tom's Cabin tells the story of this kid and his uncle who are out fishing, and they see the sheriff and his deputy hiding these bodies they murdered. And it tells the story of not just like what happens after they witness these deputies and the sheriff dumping these bodies, but what happened that they led to these people's murders and whatnot. And I think it's a very good movie, like mini movie. And it kind of sets Warrant up as not the cherry pie band either. It's more serious, more hard and heavy with a little bit more edges to them. So that's my next one. And then my third one is Sister Sin's 1 out of 10. The band's playing in this abandoned trailer park, but the camera's all distorted and you never really get a clear look at the band. And this came out in 2009-ish, I think was when I discovered this. And the band just had a hard edge, like Twisted Sister meets Motorhead meets Skid Row, and nothing like that was coming out at the time. And they were just giving it their all in this dimly lit trailer park on their instruments, and they looked fierce and nasty. And I remember just thinking, man, this band has got it. They're going places. Obviously, they didn't really go places, but it absolutely just amazing video with the way the band was playing their instruments and just shot in that trailer park. And then inside the trailers, they had like this guy wrecking the inside of a trailer, and there's like these creepy dolls and stuff in there. Really, really cool. And then for my final one, I'm going with Pink's Just Like a Pill. And that just came to my mind because, oh, dang, she looked hot in that video. And 11-year-old me has always had that stuck in my head for the rest of my life. So that's my last one.
Okay, well, when you see things, especially combining them with music, makes them powerful memory aids. I understand smells also do that same thing for people, but we're not here to review our 5 favorite smells. Okay, thank you very much, Jake. All right, so speaking of movies, here's your next piece of trivia. Movies and music, again, as far back as 1894, but once talking pictures became a thing, the very first talkie, of course, was The Jazz Singer. Now, there had been other attempts to combine movies and sound. They had involved playing phonograph records while the movie was going and other things. But the first to successfully synchronize sound in movie was The Jazz Singer, a literal music video. Now, it's quite long, but that movie was popular because they had Al Jolson singing that song. And all through the history of popular music, the pop stars of the day, and that included big band leaders. It included the first crooners like Frank Sinatra, and more for our purposes, the antecedents of heavy rock, guys like Elvis started making movies in 1958. And Elvis made 31 movies in his career, which is absolutely astounding. He was, in fact, a much more popular movie star than he was recording artist. And basically anybody who could put out movies, even bands like Herman's Hermits, which were functionally a one-hit wonder in the States, they had promotional movies. So movies and moving pictures have always gone together. All right, I'm going to go to our other dark candidate here tonight. David, tell us about your 5 favorite music videos, please.
All right. Thanks, Reed. My first choice is going to be Dokken Dream Warriors. This is a great iteration of the sort of apocalyptic or hellscape genre of a music video, particularly from metal bands in the 80s. In this case, it's a great movie tie-in with the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. You have Patricia Arquette and Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger. And then eventually you have Dokken appearing and defeating Freddy Krueger in this sort of hellscape dream world with the power of rock and roll. And Freddy Krueger then wakes up from a nightmare and says, like, what a nightmare. Who were those guys? It's a really fun one. And I think it just is a great example of that sort of video where, you know, there's so many of them, like Dio's Last in Line is another one where, you know, it's like a sci-fi fantasy hellscape kind of deal. My second choice is going to be Starship, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. This is another movie tie-in from the movie Mannequin. It's just a lot of fun. It's a very uplifting song written by Diane Warren and Albert Hammond. So it's got that 80s song doctor thing for sure. Love Mickey Thomas and Grace Slick. They do a great job, and it's just a fun video, and it really makes me happy whenever I watch it, and I enjoy it a lot. And it's got a lot of silly things going on. So I mean, that's, you know, these weird, silly things in 80s music videos are just a genre unto themselves. My next choice is going to be Kiss, Tears Are Falling. This is another weird one where it's sort of like a jungle, prehistoric kind of situation, except there's all these, you know, the neon colors that they're wearing, and there's TVs that have the, like, they're on the fritz, they have the static going. It's really excellent in the bad dancing genre, where you have Paul Stanley doing the Paul Stanley dance all over it. It's so much fun. You've got Bruce Kulick and Eric Carr. Everybody's having a good time. And then Paul Stanley swings across the stage on, like Tarzan on a rope. It's just truly ridiculous, and I love it. It's a great song. Next, I'm going to go with Tears for Fears, Head Over Heels. This is just one of my favorite music videos. It's got a lot of silly stuff going on. It's set in a library, which is also sort of a little bit of a subgenre of music videos. And, you know, there's like a chimpanzee, I think. And it's also the sort of classic guy trying to get the girl. And in this case, he does. And it's kind of got this weird 2001 A Space Odyssey, like time travel thing at the end. But it also has like the story part of the music video at the beginning, and then it goes into the band performance part of the music video towards the end, which is very common. So I really like that one a lot. And that is for my final one. Wow, this is tough. There's so many. I'm going to do Steve Perry's Oh Sherry. This is such a funny music video. It starts out, you know, with the big keyboard part, and then Steve Perry just like says, cut, cut. And he doesn't want to do it because it's like this weird fantasy medieval kind of thing, and it makes no sense to him. And then you see all these production aspects, like the director of the music video, I think, or maybe an actor, and like his manager or something. And then he goes off and like sits in a corner on a stairwell or something, and everybody's, you know, like, what's going on? And then he just starts singing it, and it's just totally awesome. And, you know, he ends up playing air guitar on a broom. You know, it's very fun and ridiculous. So that one's a lot of fun. And I think it also speaks to this like production or like backstage pass kind of genre of a music video. Like Philip Bailey and Phil Collins' Easy Lover. I mean, there's a lot of these where it's like sort of giving you a glimpse into the production, or like Deep Purple's Perfect Strangers. So yeah, those are my 5 choices.
Okay, great. Good variety of stuff there. You know, I tried like hell to learn the Paul Stanley dance based on the Tears Are Falling video when I was in high school, and I just could not get it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You really have to be in a certain mindset.
No, well, that may have been it. Maybe I just didn't have enough, body oil on at the time. All right, so um, here's your next little piece of trivia. This isn't really trivia. We're just moving along the timeline. Uh, After we're in the 60s now, and television is taking the market share away from movies, and TV execs really don't know what to do with the youth market. The, there really was no youth market prior to the middle 50s. Before that, my wife and I are big old movie aficionados. If you go back and look at old movies, kids were basically treated as just young adults until the 50s when youth culture became a thing because of mobility and money. But there were music shows on TV, shows like the Monkees in the late 60s or the Bay City Rollers in the 1970s. The Bay City Rollers, man. Who remembers those guys? And yet they sold like 10 million albums back in the day. And then over in the UK, artists started producing music videos in the 1960s. And I find this fascinating because there was no real consistent way to exhibit them, but they made them and sent them out to places where they were not going to be touring as a way of publicizing their music in these markets. So if they weren't going to be able to go to Norway, they'd send a music video to a TV station in Norway who would play it so they could watch the latest David Bowie song or whatever. And I always find that kind of fascinating. And we're going to get to other implications of that real soon. So, Elder of Rock, let's go through your 5 favorite music videos.
Yeah, I want to comment on that Tears for Fears video. The one thing I always remember about that is the keyboard part where the keyboard just kind of comes in from out of nowhere and the guy's playing it with one finger. I always love that. That was always really cool. I always like that about that video. But a good choice. Yeah, I forgot about that one. My first one's going to be by a band called the Michael Stanley Band. This is called He Can't Love You. It's a really cheesy, funny video. Partially it's cheesy because they are in on the humor, and partially it's cheesy because they're not in on kind of how silly they look. But it just starts out with them kind of playing the song. They got lead singers in a warehouse. He gets hurt, and by the end of it, he's in a hospital. He's laying in a bed singing the song. And then a guitar solo comes up, and a nurse is pushing the guy in the wheelchair up for the guitar solo. Sax solo comes up. The nurse comes in, pushing the wheelchair with a guy playing the sax. And then all of a sudden, they're all around the guy's bed, dancing around, saying, "He can't love you." And it's this old doctor. And it's just, I don't know, it was really funny. So good it's bad, but it's good. And the song's not too bad either. It's a good song, but the video is really great. The next one is going to be by a band called Bloody Hammers. It's a song called From Beyond the Grave. Bloody Hammers is kind of like this doom horror rock band, mostly a duo now. It's Anders and Davila, I think, are who's the main 2 members now. But it's made up of like a silent kind of horror movie type of thing. And it's also a lyric video because you'll see him saying stuff, and then the lyrics will come up on the screen, and it tells you the lyrics, and it's done with a good sense of humor. But it's a really good song, really doomy song. So From Beyond the Grave. My next one's going to be, I think this was the first video I ever saw on MTV. I lived in Dayton, Ohio, but we would go to my grandfather's house in Louisville every so often, and we didn't have MTV yet, but we went there and he did. And I think the first video I ever saw was a Goody Two Shoes by Adam Ant. I think Jake was talking about a girl in a video earlier about, well, there's a girl in this video. Has got these blonde streaks in her. She starts off as being this really conservative type of thing, and then as the video goes on, she's getting her hair's coming down, and by the end of it, she's taking her glasses off and dancing around. But the video is also really funny. Adam Ant, kind of poking fun at himself a little bit, and I always like this. There's something about videos that, at least in the early days of MTV, about the videos that were in England. They had a different kind of production kind of style to them. and a kind of sense of humor about them in the early days. And let's see, the next one I'm going to choose, I believe this was a music video, but I saw this in the movie The Kids Are All Right by The Who. It's a video for the song called Happy Jack. And it's shot in black and white, but it's kind of them in fast motion, just kind of being goofy, dancing around. Keith Moons keeps smashing a cake into his face. And they're like dressed as cops and they're dressed as gangsters. And it was a real fun video. I always liked it. I think it's probably one of the earliest videos. Maybe it was done, probably one of the early music videos. Oh, I also want to say about Goody Two Shoes. There's a little tribute to Jailhouse Rock in there as well, which may have been an early music video, but they do he does the sliding down the pole, not in front of a jail, but it looks like a similar type of set. And then, oh yeah, okay. So my final one's going to be by Green Jello, Three Little Pigs. I think it's all done in claymation, but very good song, very funny, very sense of humor. They are able to use the claymation very well to interpret the lyrics, and they have appearance by Rambo even in claymation. But it was a good video, and the end, amusing people with a stupid puppet show. I always liked that. Thought that was kind of funny. So there you go. Those are my 5.
All right, very good. I got to see Green Jello in concert, opening for Testament of all bands.
Oh, wow.
They were actually pretty good.
Huh.
I just remember one of them was dressed as Ace Frehley, which was pretty hilarious. Okay, so I could talk probably for an hour on the sociological implications of the advent of music television in America. It started broadcasting August 1st, 1981. It opened in very, very small markets. While they were trying to prove it was a viable thing, I lived in a town in the middle of Montana. We had no rock radio. We were the definition of a small cable market. And so I did not realize that we got MTV before many people in the rest of the country got MTV. I was 13, and it made a massive and immediate impact on my life, being able to watch music videos, seeing what other people, we dressed like would become stereotypical in grunge because it was freaking Montana, right? You wore jeans and flannel because it was cold all the time. And then so to be able to turn on MTV and say, wow, people are listening to this other music. Of course, in 1981, the British were the people who had music videos to be displayed. So America had this massive influx of British bands that suddenly became hugely popular. The early videos were still very primitive. I remember like the Fix had 3 videos that it's just them in a warehouse with some mist and shooting a red laser over their head. The definition of primitive, until there's a seismic event in 1983. So I'm going to give my favorites. Well, I'm going to give my videos here in chronological order. And we're going to start in 1983 with what is probably still the biggest event in video music ever, and that's Michael Jackson's Thriller. Thriller was incredible. It was almost 14 minutes long. It cost almost $1 million to make. It had a real director, John Landis. It had a real special effects guy in Rick Baker. Landis and Baker had just done an American Werewolf in London, and the special effects in Thriller are just as good as in that theatrical movie. It's entertaining. It has this incredible dancing in it. Whether you like the song or not, or whether you like Michael Jackson or not, is immaterial. That video changed the world. It changed the world. Nothing was ever the same after it played. MTV, now think about it. They had to kick off like 6 other bands whose videos they might have played to play that one video. But after every video, they would put up the time when they would have the next video up. And at least according to Wikipedia, their average viewership was about 10 times their regular viewership for people to watch that video. It has more than 1 billion views on the long form video on YouTube. One of the most impactful cultural events of the 1980s, even if you didn't like the song. My next video is actually 3 videos two from 1983 and one from 1984, but I'm lumping them all in together because it's the ZZ Top Eliminator trifecta of Gimme All Your Lovin', Sharp Dressed Man, and Legs. The genius of these videos, and now I'm 15 years old, you're talking about videos that feature this amazing custom 1930 Ford coupe, or excuse me, 33 coupe, beautiful women in tight clothes, and weird-looking, heavily bearded dudes with custom guitars. Plus, the music kicked butt. So those videos were just, we could not wait for those to come on, and they played them constantly. So those were just huge, huge videos, which is so funny because then a friend of mine went out and bought the album, and I was like, I don't even like the album. I like it now. At the time, I didn't like it, but I still love the videos, could not wait for them to come on. And then we're going to move into 1984 still with, interestingly, a song that David George already mentioned, not just one of my favorite videos, but one of my all-time favorite songs from one of my all-time favorite artists, and that's Dio's The Last in Line. The video for Last in Line is incredible. And I remember seeing it one night on MTV and going, what was that? What just happened? So it's got this delivery kid, like this bike messenger on a bike. He goes into a building, gets in an elevator. The elevator drops. He's like stuck to the ceiling of the elevator, and he lands in hell. And there's this group of zombies like marching through hell, and these guys that look like the Borg shepherding them through. But the Borg would not appear for another 7 years. So this is way ahead of the curve here. They've got a room that he's walking by. He sees all these people being tortured. One of them, there's a room where people are chained to a video game. And every time they lose a life on the video game, it shocks them. Got Vivian Campbell's playing his guitar solo with zombies attacking him. The whole thing was incredible. And then at the end of it, Dio, I think it's hilarious. They don't shoot Dio with other people. So you never really get an idea of the scale of the man, him being famously quite short. But at the end of it, he saves the kid. The kid's like one of the Borg guys has him, and Dio stabs him in the nuts with a neon tube, which is supposed to be like a lightsaber, and then the kid runs away. So that was just such an awesome video with such an amazing song, even though it's shortened for the video, which kind of pisses me off. They cut off at least half of the guitar solo, and they shortened the intro and the outro of the song. But still, it took, I don't know, months until I caught it again, because they only played it like at 1 a.m., you know, maybe once a week or something like that. But that video was just a massive part. People got so sick of me talking about that at school. I was like, dude, Last in Line, have you seen this? All right. Now I'm going to roll forward to 1998. By now, MTV is no longer the cultural force it was, but people are still putting out awesome videos. And I'm actually going to go to the Foo Fighters' Everlong. So if you've never seen this video, it's kind of a weird mashup of like the Evil Dead with some 1970s British punk imagery. Dave Grohl is kind of dressed up like Sid Vicious, and Taylor Hawkins is dressed up like Nancy, and you've got a couple other guys in the band dressed up like Teddy Boys. And it's got these really surreal images, like this massive telephone that Dave Grohl crawls on to try and call for help. And again, what makes a really great video to me is that it's entertaining even if you don't like the song. Although Everlong's a fine song, I've got no problem with it, but the video I could just watch over and over and over again. It's really, really cool. And in fact, I saw the video before I heard the song, and I was kind of disappointed that the song doesn't have the second chorus at the very end that they include in the video. I guess just to have some footage of the band playing when they were heavily in costume for the rest of it. And finally, I wanted to put a very, very modern video on here because videos have never gone away. It's just that they're on YouTube now. There's not, I mean, I don't know. Does MTV even exist? I haven't looked for it. It probably still does. It's probably a lifestyle channel or something like that now. But everybody still makes videos and puts them on YouTube. I remember when, Iron Maiden came out with Senjutsu, they had a video for every song, basically. Everybody puts out lyric videos. Elder of Rock mentioned lyric videos earlier. That's a new thing. I don't remember that ever before YouTube. But this particular video was 2022 for Jerry Cantrell. He had this song called Prism of Doubt off of his Brighton album. I like this song, but the video is insane. It's a stop motion puppet show with Ken and Barbie dolls where aliens invade Earth, and there's this basically beer drinking ne'er-do-well in his apartment that gets kidnapped by these female aliens who bring him up to space to their like rectal probing ship. And they tell him he's the chosen one who's going to save everybody, and let's have an orgy. So they have a puppet orgy, and then they send him back to Earth where he blows up all the aliens with rainbows and turns them into like puppies and butterflies. It is the most insane thing ever. It has absolutely nothing to do with the song, but it's just so much fun to watch. Although at the end of it, you kind of watch it and go, what just happened? I don't get it. Who thought this out? I don't know, but it is, I thought it was hilarious. It's very memorable. And I'm glad that bands are still making videos. In fact, for a while, I think bands will put out videos probably after they stop putting out albums. I even remember John Lowry, he's now in Motley Crue, talking about he was going to put out an album and do a video for every song because that was what you had to do now to get publicity. I don't know if that's still true or not. This was several years ago. Anyway, videos. I've loved them since I was a teenager. I still love them. Oof. Okay. That was a lot. Let's, we still have time on the clock. So if anybody wants to talk about honorable mentions, make comments about other videos that were mentioned, everybody, I would love to be able to put fragments of videos in our video. We cannot, but it's easy enough to track down these things. They're all on YouTube. Just do a search for them and find any of them that sound appealing. So, Jeff, give us some honorable mentions.
All right, I'll try to make this quick. Weird Al, White and Nerdy, I think is just really well done. Great song, great cover of it, or great novelty parody of it. About 3 songs that just, these videos aren't they aren't groundbreaking, they aren't avant-garde, they didn't do anything new. Breaking the Law, Crocus Eat the Rich, and Motorhead Ace of Spades are just 3 metal videos that when they came on, it fucking kicked ass. And that was really all you needed to know. I mean, Crocus looked kind of silly the way they were, they had all the kind of post-apocalyptic, unrealistic guitars and all that other stuff. But, I was in high school. I thought it ruled. Eminem Without Me is really clever. It's pretty entertaining. Wall of Voodoo, Mexican Radio. I always loved when that came on, and that actually got me to buy the album. And it turns out that the album is really good. I should probably see if they did anything else. The other thing that's neat about Mexican Radio is when I see the video, there's a flying V that the guy is playing. And then I listen to the song and oh yeah, no, he's playing a clean V. Nobody plays a clean V in kind of new wave music. And like it is a recognizable sound. It's just kind of cool that it matches up like that and that they're doing something a little bit different. But the song rules and it's entertaining video. Wu-Tang Clan's Gravel Pit is pretty entertaining as well. Just a bunch of Flintstones looking stuff going on. And then a big kung fu fight at the end. It's pretty silly. And Russian techno dance band that I don't think anybody's ever heard of unless they caught the last time I mentioned them, called Little Big. They won Eurovision, I guess, but whatever. They have a couple of really clever videos, one called Hypno Dancer, about about a heist group that basically takes over casino games by dancing so weird that everyone is mesmerized and they can just make off with the money. It's really well shot, really interesting to watch. It's funny as hell. They also have one called Go Bananas that's very silly, and their videos are just pure entertainment. I mean, that's just what there is. So those are some honorable mentions, including some actual normal metal picks. So you don't wonder why the hell I let off the Outcast. Like, who is this guy?
I thought, yeah, I love those Crocus videos with the post-apocalyptic stuff and Breaking the Law, where they're robbing the guys of his gold records with their cars.
I like Rob Halford bending the bars. That was always funny to me.
Yeah, it's a little cheesy, but you know the song.
Oh yeah, it's great though. Yeah, it's right.
It's adolescent power fantasy is what it is, and man, I still love that song. I've always loved that song.
I've got no problem with it. Jake from State Farm, do you have any honorable mentions or thoughts you would like to throw in here at the end?
Oh, I got honorable mentions. Bowling for Soup, 1984, is an homage to classic music videos from 84, like Whitesnake and Robert Palmer and Motley Crue. Just really funny stuff. And the lyrics of that are pretty hysterical, too. And then Genesis, Land of Confusion, is both horrifying and funny. If you've ever looked at those puppets, I'm not sure if I want to laugh at them or be scared of them. And then you have Rob Zombie's Everybody's Bumping Uglies in the UFO, and that's not what it's called.
No, it's not. No, I know what that title is.
If you've seen that video, it's very animated, like Beavis and Butthead's Acid Trip, and it fits the title of the song. It's pretty out there, like it's something only Rob Zombie's mind could come up with. It's wild. It's fun. It's a stupid song, I think, but I think the video's better.
Okay,
Yes,
very good. David, any honorable mentions or comments?
Oh yes, I got a lot of honorables. Eddie Murphy, Party All the Time, is another favorite, featuring Rick James. That's another sort of like the making of the video, making of the song kind of situation. Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams, that's just a great music video. I mean, it has a cow. It's really weird. Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round Like a Record is an undeniable classic. It was parodied on the Jimmy Fallon show with Paul Rudd. The Outfield, Your Love, is another sort of behind the scenes one, and also a guy getting the girl, except he doesn't get the girl in this situation. I've also got Toto, Rosanna. That's just a really fun one with a lot of actually good dancing. The bad dancing category, I got to give it to Joey Tempest in Europe for the Carrie music video. Whatever Joey Tempest is doing in that video, he's trying to, make something happen, and it's not happening. It's very, very funny.
When you said bad dancing, I thought you were going to say Billy Squire, Rock Me Tonight.
I thought he was going to go with Rick Astley.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just endless. But I have also got Belinda Carlisle, Heaven is a Place on Earth. That's a really funny and weird one. Animotions, Obsession. That's really ridiculous. What else? Oh, George Harrison's Crackerbox Palace. That's a very early one from the 70s that was played on Saturday Night Live and directed by Eric Idle from Monty Python. I mean, I could just go on. Some more cool dystopian ones are like Queensryche's Queen of the Reich and Icons on Your Feet. You've got like Accept's Balls to the Wall, where people are banging their head on a wall, and Accept are doing this very sort of like choreographed metal dancing. It's a lot of fun.
And Udo rides a wrecking ball through the wall because they honestly did not know what that phrase meant.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and another sort of post-apocalyptic one is Bonham's Wait for You. You've also got like Kisses Lick It Up and Invincible by Pat Benatar, where there's like little fires in the background. It's sort of like a post-apocalyptic thing. Yeah, I mean, I could just go on and on, but I also wanted to mention Amish Paradise by Weird Al. That is my personal pick for Weird Al. It's just so funny. I mean, I just die laughing when I heard that or saw that for the first time.
Okay. Weird Al, always a good time. All right, Elder, got a few last minute wrap up thoughts in?
Yeah, one that was kind of cutting edge technical at the time was Aha's Take on Me video with
sure.
its drawings, when the way that was done, sketches. I think that was like there was a term for, I don't want to say roto sound. So there was something called some kind of rotoscope. Thank you. Yeah, rotoscope. Yeah, that was been used, and that was kind of cutting edge. And then Kiss I Love It Loud. Because this came on MTV, and I was like, oh, Kiss is back, because they had some missteps before with Unmasked and The Elder and all that, so it was like this video came on, and I was like, oh wow, this is cool. Of course, the video had Ace Frehley in it, but Ace Frehley didn't play on it. But and then let's see, another one is by a Ghost. It's called Cerise, I think is how you say it. And what's kind of cool about this is like Ghost isn't in it, or at least I don't think they are, but there's little kids dressed up as Ghost. They're playing a talent show, and then they try to shut them down, and this girl kind of does like a carry, and so it's kind of like a carry at the end. And then the other one would be Baby Metal, B times M times C. It's like them in a video game, like Mortal Kombat type of video game, fighting these foes, and it's kind of cool. So,
okay, very good. All right, I'll just mention one more event. I've talked about it before, but one of the formative happenings of my teenage musical years happened when I saw a video. It's a post-apocalyptic video. Some guys walking down a street, minding their own business. There are, trash fires, and they start this badass riff, and I'm going, man, that's a pretty badass riff. And then one of them starts singing, and I go, wait, that's Kiss. That's Kiss without makeup. Kiss took off their makeup. And after that, I still am not sure if it was the video for Lick It Up or All Hell's Breaking Loose. It's too.
All Hell's. Well, most of them had the kind of same video, but All Hell's Breaking Loose kind of had them fighting a little bit.
Yeah.
They were like kind of fighting people, and Paul Stanley gets out this sword and all this.
And Gene goes.
Yeah. That's All Hell's Breaking Loose.
Okay, that was probably it. And after that, that was all it took. I was on board with Kiss in the '80s. I love the '80s albums. I'll still fight for Bruce Kulick as being the best guitarist who ever played in Kiss. So yes, that was the kind of impact music videos had then. They don't have it now. And I will say, I never judge a song by how it sounds on YouTube. I hate the compression that YouTube puts, their algorithm. You're only getting about 40% of the sonic information in a song. So it kills me when they put out advanced singles, and then you see all these people going, oh, the single sounds terrible. I say, well, of course it sounds terrible. You're only getting 40% of the music. No, there's no, if you watched a movie and only got 40% of the picture, you wouldn't try to judge the picture. You would go and find the entire thing. But that's just how people consume music now. So yeah, I guess it is what it is. But I always wait until I get a good high quality music source before I judge how something sounds. All right, everyone. That was a great chat. These are our 25 and then some favorite music videos. Look them up. They're easy to find. Kill some time. It's a deep rabbit hole. Hell, I just want to go watch those old stupid In the Warehouse with Laser Beam videos from the Fix now. I used to love those. Red Skies.
Had a charm about them. Those old early music videos that they didn't know what the heck they were doing, and then what budget they were working with, and they just did whatever. And there's kind of a charm about them. I like those.
Yeah, those are cool. I'm going to check out Last in Line because I don't think I ever saw them.
Well,
I didn't have MTV for most of the time, and I'm probably a little older than I think most of you. So
don't be so sure about that.
By the time I was out of high school, I was there was no chance of MTV because I didn't have cable.
Right.
Well, so yeah, a lot of these I never, like I remember reading somebody was talking about how great the Painkiller video was, and I realized, wow, there was a video for Painkiller in 1990. I had no idea what videos were coming out. which is why there's a lot of rap on my list, because it's stuff that I've gone back to, you know, that I'm finding now, stuff I've gotten into later. And I go back and, oh, that's what Painkiller looked like. Oh, look, that is pretty neat. Yeah, look. Yeah.
Well, there's not enough hours in the day to look up all of the music out there. That's why I
No, there
advocate
isn't.
the stuff you like and really follow it. But keep an open mind. And everybody, thank you for watching our video talking about our favorite videos. We'll be doing a lot more videos coming up soon. I hate saying the YouTube things, but I'll say them. Like the channel, subscribe. We do this for free. I mean, the Patreons don't. They're literally paying for the privilege of being here. Thank you very much. I'm a patron too. I pay for this gig just like everybody else. So we are very, very glad that people enjoy watching these, though. I hope you continue to do so. Share it with a few friends, and we will see you on the next video. Guys, that was a fun panel. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Reed.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.